Welcome back, everyone. If you've been following this series from the beginning, you'll remember that we've been analyzing data collected from 15 university students. So far, everything we've done has been based on information collected at a single point in time. But real research rarely ends after the first round of data collection. Researchers often return to the same participants to see whether anything has changed. And that is exactly what we are going to do today. Imagine that 1 month has passed and the university has completed an academic success program designed to improve students' study habits and academic performance. And we've invited the same 15 students back and collected new information. And instead of starting a brand new data set, we are going to extend the one we've already built. And by the end of today's lesson, our data set will be ready for the next stage of our research. Let's think about this for a moment. Our goal isn't to compare one group of students with another. We want to know whether the same students changed after completing the program. If we recruited completely different participants, we wouldn't be able to answer that question. That's why researchers often return to the same people, and following the same participants over time allows us to measure change rather than simply comparing different groups. Keep that idea in mind because it becomes very important in our next lesson. A common mistake beginners make is creating a new SPSS file every time new data are collected. And in most research projects, that's not what happens. Instead, researchers continue working with the same dataset. Think of it like adding another chapter to a book. The story continues. By keeping everything together, it's much easier to analyze changes over time and avoid confusion later. And that's exactly what we are going to do today. Notice something important. We are not replacing any of the information we've already collected. The original GPA stays exactly where it is. Why? Because that's our baseline measurement, and the new GPA represents the same student after completing the program. And keeping both measurement allows us to compare before and after. And without the original data, we wouldn't know whether anyone improved. So this lesson is very practical. We will add two new variables. The first records whether each student completed the program. The second records their updated GPA after 1 month. And once those variables have been added and the data entered, our dataset will be ready for a completely new type of statistical analysis. But before we get there, I want us to open SPSS and do what researchers do every day, prepare our data carefully. Everything we've discussed so far has been preparation. Now it's time to open SPSS and continue building our research dataset. As we work together, pay close attention to why we are adding each variable, not just how. And by the end of this demonstration, you will have an updated dataset that is ready for the next stage of analysis. Let's switch over to SPSS. And this is exactly the data set we've been working with throughout this series. Nothing has changed yet. We still have our original variables. We've got our original GPA, which is here. We've got our study hours and the stress score. And everything we collected during the first phase of the study is still here. And that's exactly how it should be. And because researchers never overwrite original data, they instead build on it. So I want us to move to our variable view, and our last variable is what? Satisfaction score. And that's where our original study ended. And today, our study is going to continue. And rather than creating another SPSS file, which I wouldn't recommend, we will simply extend the one we've already built. And that's good research practice. So the first thing I want us to record is something very simple. Did each participant complete the academic success program? So I want us to create, a new variable named program completed. And notice that I'm giving the variable a meaningful name And months from now, or even years from now, I'll still understand what exactly this variable represents. Now I want us to complete the remaining properties. So the type we know is numeric, the weight is 2, the decimals, I'm going to leave it at 0. And the label, let's change it to program completed. Yeah? Completed. And the label allows us to describe a variable in plain English, which you already know. So I want us to define the value labels. So 1 should represent yes. Okay. And the obvious answer 2 should represent what? No. Okay. So whenever we see a 1, we definitely know that participant completed the program. And whenever we see a 2, they didn't. So it's as simple as A, B, C, O. So give me a second. 2 is no. We did not add that. So we're going to add that. I'll hit on OK. And that is exactly that. Okay. And before we continue, I want to ask you something. Why didn't we simply type yes and no? Think about it for a moment. And that, is a good question because statistical software works much more efficiently with numerical codes. So they don't mean one category is greater than the other. So what should we do here? Since it's a yes or no, we're going to put it under nominal scale. I believe that makes a lot of sense. So let's move back to our data view. And our new column, as you can see, has been added, which is what program completed. So I'm going to enter 1 for the very first participant. So let me change this into that 1 for the first participant all the way down. So they all completed their study. Okay. One. One, one, one. Okay. And I want you to also understand that research isn't always this neat. Sometimes participants withdraw from the study. Sometimes they might miss the follow-up appointment. And sometimes they can't be contacted. And that is normal. So if that happened, we would have recorded what 2 for no, or depending on the study design we're dealing with. So we're going to leave the follow-up measurements missing, and we'll discuss, other missing data in the course because it's a very common challenge in research. But for today's example, all 15 participants completed the program. So we're just going to have to leave it like that. Now I want us to go back to the variable view, okay? And we're going to create a new variable called GPA after, okay? GPA. Now we need after. So after completing the program, okay? And we will just leave this at 2 decimal places, okay? Then we're going to name this GPA, which is the current grade point average. Okay, after program. Now we change the scale. Okay, it's already under the scale measure. So we're going to return to our data view. And now a new variable has been added. So we're going to enter H value, okay? So 3.74, and I want you to do same whilst you follow along 3.38, 3.92, 3.18, and a perfect 4.0. That's great. 3.48, we've got 3.05, we've got 3.89, 3.31, we move on to 3.63, 3.45, 2.98, and we've got 3.89 and 3.18, then 3.71. So just take your time. If you're feeling left out, just pause the video and do your entries, okay? So I want us to compare the two columns, which is GPA after and GPA before, okay? So have you noticed anything different? Yes, the scores have changed, but not by the same amount, right? And some students improved more than the others, and a few improved only slightly, and that's exactly what we would expect in real research. People rarely respond to an intervention in exactly the same way. So if every participant improved by precisely 0.20, our data would look artificial. So real data set contain natural variations. And since we've now completed the new information, it's important to preserve it. So we need to go to File, okay? And now we need to go to Save As, because we're not going to overwrite it. And we need to go and save a new version here, which is within my SPSS as well, dataset. So the new name will be social underscore media underscore study. Yeah. And let's say that is a longitudinal. That's today's date. Today is the 28th of July 2026 for version control. So this is going to give us that flexibility to return to the original file if we ever need it. So it's as simple as that. So our original file is there, which is here, but we're not overwriting, you save in your copy. Okay. I want us to look at what we've accomplished today. We didn't analyze any statistics, and that's okay, because good analysis always begins with good data management. We've extended our existing data set rather than creating a brand new one. We've preserved our original measurement, we've added follow-up information from the same participant, and we've prepared the data set for the next stage of our research. And in our next lesson, we'll finally answer the question we've been building towards. Did student GPA improve after completing the academic success program? To answer that, we will use a paired samples t-test. Let's head back to the slides. Welcome back. Our dataset has grown, but notice something important. It's still the same research project. We've simply added another layer of information, and that is exactly how many real-world research projects develop over time. Now that we have both baseline and follow-up measurement, we can begin asking questions about change. We now have two GPA measurements for every participant, one before the program and one after. The question is no longer about comparing different groups. Instead, we are interested in whether the same student changed over time. If you've been following the course closely, you may already know which statistical test we will need next. We will answer that in our next lesson. Today's lesson wasn't about statistics. It was about good research practice. And before we analyze data, we need to organize it properly. By extending our dataset instead of replacing it, we've preserved the original measurement while preparing for the next stage of the study. And that's how professional researchers manage longitudinal data. We've now reached an exciting point in our research. We have measurements before the program We also have measurement after a program, and everything is now in place. In the next episode, we will answer the questions we've been building towards. Did the academic success program make a statistically significant difference to students' GPA? You use the paired samples t-test to find out. I'll see you in the next lesson where we continue our journey. Not just learning SPSS, but learning to think like researchers.